Hey, well, it's been a while since I've done a video, but it's the championship. This day concludes the 2 week matchup of the semis for the 2014 Joe Random's Fantasy Baseball League, the season, and we had ourselves some great matchups. Like even in the consolation bracket, it was very competitive. I don't know how many of you were actually checking, but it was very, very good to see. And as a commissioner, I'm very pleased with our performances league wide. What we have ultimately was we had the number four Thayer against the number one Sucks, and we had the number three Paz against the number two Dudek. So we'll start with them first. What we had was a very interesting, these guys are veterans. They've seen each other before. Dudek, both championship winners, they both are proven. Historically, Dudek has had Paz's number in fantasy, and Paz was the underdog, certainly going in. And questions about the rotation, is that going to be enough to hold the team together? As the offense, he hasn't shown us too much over the course of the season. However, we'll get to that in a second. And Dudek is kind of coming in pretty hot. He had won like six straight or something like that. His pitching is formidable. His offense can go off. So and through the course of this matchup, it was like, all right, well, Dudek might win, and then Paz kind of took a lead, and it just kept going, and all of a sudden it looked like Dudek was going to take it. Now, what happened was a tie, 7-7, and unfortunately, in these situations, we never like to see it, but it happens, and Paz owned the tiebreaker via the Jimenez Law of 2013 that specifically states if there is a tie in a playoff match, the tiebreaker will go to the winner of the regular season matchups. And in this case, Paz owned the tiebreaker over Dudek. They actually split. I think they split 1-1 in the season. However, Paz had more categories overall than Dudek, so that gives Paz the edge, and he won the tiebreaker 7-7. So, talking about the match in specifics, what we had was Paz, the offense. It really didn't do a whole lot, but he hit for a good average. It didn't win the average, and he stole bases. He didn't strike out. That's the obvious stuff. And he hit a lot of extra base hits. You look at the key. I mean, Buster Posey hit 467. Even better, Carl Crawford hit 486. If you look at the substance in the numbers, though, you could even go to Pujols, who only had 14 hits, but he had 12 runs. He had a couple homers, 11 RBIs. This is good stuff. So he got some contribution, and not even from Ryan Braun, the guy that you thought might do it. Consistency from Jose Abreu, hit 350 over the course of the 2 week span, and it is a marathon. It's very hard to be good these 2 weeks, but it really tests you as a player. Does as a fantasy owner, can you battle through adversity? 5 for 8 from pickup Omar Infante. Even Justin Turner, he got a home run from the Dodger. There was some production that happened, may not have expected. Hanley Ramirez came back. He's healthy, hitting 326 in the last 2 weeks. So good indications from Paz. 5 stolen bases from Jason Hayward. Not something that you would suspect. Hayward's not really had a fantastic season, but that's a difference maker. And that's what ultimately between the save percentage, which Dudek won, but the stolen bases was the deal breaker. You look at the pitching, we saw some phenomenal stuff here. In 191 innings, Paz put up 186 strikeouts, 19 quality starts, 17 wins, 15 saves, A 3.20 ERA and a 1.21 WHIP, numbers that are equivalent to like one starting pitcher over a course of a season, and that's very very good. And you can look at the guys up and down the lineup. It was actually the relievers that hurt Paz more than the starters, if you look at it. And it was Tim Hudson. If you take his 14 earned runs out of the 12 innings, Paz is looking at like a 2.5 ERA, something that's really untouchable. And in the case for to Dudek really didn't have a chance in the pitching categories. It was just Paz rode Bumgarner, he rode Phil Hughes. They all put up a large amount of innings, and he got a lot of production. You look strikeouts, you look at the ERA and WHIP. Look at Hamels, a 1.86 ERA, and so it was very very good to see. And I mean, I don't know if it's me, but playing him next week. But and then for Dudek, it's hard to say he lost because he really didn't. He tied, but you can't hide from your regular season, and that's the exact terminology that Frank used when he was developing this rule. So, what happened was Dudek had a great week offensively, and I think he had the best week offensively in the entire league. Give or take a few with Eric, I don't know, but they just in its entirety, the 82 runs, the 23 homers, 60 extra base hits, 82 RBIs, and he had 14 stolen bases. I mean, that's really good. It just was not quite enough. The 304 average was all there. Miguel Cabrera did everything he was asked to. The 420 average, 5 home runs. He's probably the player of the last 2 weeks. Nobody was putting up that kind of production. And then you just keep continuing. I mean, pickups like Danny Santana hit 342. He got a homer out of Lonnie Chisenhall. Chris Carter, I hate that guy, but he hit 333, hit a blast. Just go up and down the list. 4 stolen bases from Juan Lugares. I mean, some people don't even know who he is. And Jose Bautista, of course. You can't really expect much more than 3 homers, 14 RBIs, and over a 2-week span. Very impressive, and you'd think it would be enough to put out Paz. And the pitching department, he started off a little shaky. His ERA was upwards of 4 early in the matches, but you look at the end of the week, 3.49 ERA, 1.12 WHIP. That's very good. A high K per 9, more Ks than innings, and he got a lot of quality starts. But it was a matter of the innings, I think, and Paz put up 26 starts over the course of the 2 weeks. Dudek only had 20, and it's hard to, maybe he was using his acquisitions in another way, but that you could point to that. I don't know. I don't know if it was going to be enough to catch Paz's numbers. I think Paz was playing with fire with the save percentage. I mean, 15 for 19. Dudek ended up winning that category, even though he was only 5 for 6. And that's one of those things where probably going to ban save percentage next year. It just does not seem like a great category. But David Price pitched well. Jacob deGrom, Alex Wood was phenomenal. Jared Weaver was phenomenal. The guys that pitched, got multiple starts were great. Scott Kazmir, but he only got a couple of 1 starters from a few guys. Matt Shoemaker had that rough bad start. Just a couple other guys. Matt Garza, Crapuano. It just not too impressive. Strasburg was great. Just didn't see enough of it overall. So, unfortunately for Dudek, the 3-time champion will be exiting the playoffs early. The first time he is losing in the first round. And Paz will be advancing to the Jew Classic for the second time. And he won the first time. But now we'll go over to his opponent and what he did last week in Burnett Sucks, as Burnett Sucks defeated his rival, arch nemesis, whatever you want to call him, Andrew Thayer, 11-3, a pretty convincing victory. And like Paz, Thayer had 26 starts, but it was not as effective. And you can point to a lot of different factors on why Thayer didn't win. What really happened was Sux just had a phenomenal first week, and he kind of just took that momentum into the second week. It's not like he was that impressive the second week, but it was good enough. He got a lot of at bats. The offense was right on par: 22 homers, 85 runs, 52 extra base hits. These are 79 RBI. They didn't even win it, but that's good. And then he swept the pitching. And Sux, between Sux and Paz, you could flip flop them for best staff in the league almost, because that's how good they are. Clayton Kershaw, I mean, my goodness. The unfortunate thing for Thayer is he had to face Kershaw 4 times, and that's not easy. That is, I think, 3 or 4 times, and he won 8 innings every time. He struck out 8+ every time. It's just the way it goes sometimes. And Sux was very succinct on who he used in his lineup. It wasn't just anybody. He had his core rotation of like the 7 starters and like the 3 or 4 relievers, and it was good enough to do it. Fortunately, Sux lost Castro, Pedroia, and Hyunjin Ryu. All these guys were playing pretty well before, and that could be costly. The middle infield is not an easy position to replace, and right now he's kind of got Judd Lowry and Jordy Mercer filling in to go along with Dee Gordon and Asdrubal Cabrera. But that's something to watch for. But Sux, and it's in overall, you really couldn't ask for much better of a pitching week. He had a couple of starts here and there that didn't go his way, but look at Corey Kluber had a great couple starts. Aroldis Chapman gets you Ks when you need him. Deline Betances, Ks when you need him. Paxton, the young guy, he was dominant. So it just goes to show you can't just avoid pitching. Pitching is something that you have to look for, evaluate, and does it help you out? I don't know. But it should. It should. Pitching's valuable. For Thayer, he had some great production. JD Martinez hit 5 blasts, 313 average. He's 19 stolen bases. You get a couple of 3 from Jackson, 3 from Altuve, and Altuve's been phenomenal all season. 378. Jonathan Lucroy, 353. These guys are getting a lot of extra base hits. Starling Marte came on, 405, 6 extra base hits, 2 homers. Adrian Beltre, Pence was, he's been good. Lot of versatility. Ben Revere came out of nowhere this week, and he hit a home run, he hit a grand slam. He got the most RBIs he got all year, the 5 stolen bases. It was impressive to see, but you look at where the loss happened, and it's the staff, and it was just way too much of an assortment of pitchers. Not enough high K per 9. He did get 16 quality starts. You can't argue that, but the save percentage wasn't good. Not that he doesn't have good closers; it just happens to be that way. But you can't win a championship with a 3.9 ERA. It's just not good enough. A couple of poor outings from a few guys and a few pickups. It just didn't cut it. Didn't cut it. But it's tough. It's tough. Thayer goes to 0-3 in the playoffs, and he'll play Dudek in the consolation match. In the consolation bracket, it was competitive. Michael and Matt tied, and Matt owns a tiebreaker. If you really want to care why, I have the information, but he won the tiebreaker. Scoops put up a good killing on the duo. I think it was closer than the score says. But he'll be playing for the first pick against Mr. Eric Yee, who put a smashing on Jimenez. So, and then Jimenez will play Matt for the 7th place game. So it should be interesting. The video is coming to an end. I'll do a written preview for the championship. But thank you guys. Good luck to all. See you later. Don't stress.